Yeah, I thought for us, Ottawa came out really well in the first half, really organized, and it took us a little while to, I think, kind of get our legs going and sort of figure out, how we wanted to suppress them and those type of opportunities. I thought towards the middle to end of the first half, we created a couple chances. I think we would have liked to finish those. And then I thought we were able to be a little bit more aggressive in the second half. And it was, at the end, it's a good first leg. The two away goals are important, but it's only the first leg, and I think we walk away knowing that we've got some things to work on. And Ottawa challenged us in a really strong way tonight.
So, well,
Yeah, you guys can go
good Paul, perfect. Yeah, Paul. I saw it was an interesting lineup. Starting offense is a mix of players you could normally see seeing starting for others. So you're getting a fair opportunity. We saw a moving to see as a fourth player here getting that goal. What was the game plan in that respect? Was that idea to bring out some of your 18 players towards like a 60th minute? I noticed you had a triple change in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we're obviously all of us are balancing sort of the regular season of MLS and the CONCACAF. And so I thought we were able to put out a balanced lineup of experienced guys and also really good opportunity for some of our young players. And it was great to see Rubens get a goal. I thought he had a really good performance. And yeah, Matt Corcoran, a young center midfielder for us, Thomas Williams, a young center back, Warren Madrigal. So even some guys that got their first games. And so I thought, the way that they played that first 60, 65 minutes was really strong.
put on the end here. Charlie Franklin, the Canadian Premier League coach. I wonder if maybe you can expand a little bit on movement in particular, maybe how meaningful this moment this night was for him. Playing in a stadium, he scored lots of goals in the fourth, getting his first team start, I believe.
Yeah, really proud of him. He's put in a lot of work, and it's not been an easy path for him. And I think his pathway shows for everybody, like just being resilient. His job's to score goals. He scored a ton. I think he had 32 in the Canadian Premier League, and then obviously he was on loan to Tampa Bay and had 15, 18 goals last year. So he's a goal scorer. We know that. And so that's his primary job, which he did tonight. But also the work that he did off the ball. Leading our defensive line, I thought was a really selfless performance on that side. And so I think you're starting to see him in the preseason really round into being a more complete player.
Kind of goes to the saying, but how important was getting that second goal? And I guess kind of the goal where you put out the heading and Sam up there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, anytime we put solutions in the game, the idea is to elevate the game and elevate the intensity as well. And so I thought that was a good second goal. We always know in here the away goal is a big differentiator for us. And so I thought, that was a nice job. And the two ways that we scored goals. One was through a little bit of a longer sustained buildup that we kind of were able to get down the left side and then find Rubens. And then this was a little bit more on a sort of counterattack transition sort of play.
Anything else? No. So we'll go to Zoom. As a reminder, if you have a question on Zoom, please use the hand raise function. Blair.
Hey BJ, we saw a little bit of a different shape than what we're used to last year. We saw a little bit of this towards the end of last year, but from kind of Muyl tucking in a little bit more, I guess, towards the midfield. What were your goals for that, and did you see it kind of work out on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, it's still early in the season, so it's a little bit of a work in progress. I think a lot of that has to do with the quality of Ottawa. And they do a really good job of creating overloads in the middle of the field and so for us, it was all about trying to protect the middle of the field. And so, I think it's, we still have some things to work on for sure. But overall, pleased with the first step.
Go ahead, Blair, if you have another.
Yeah, and I mean, you already got a goal from Rubens, which I know in the room they asked you about him, but how important is it to have that goal from Rubens, somebody who maybe won't be starting every game, and then you put in your DPs and they combine for a goal as well? I mean, does that feel good to start the year with?
Yeah, I mean, this is a two-leg competition, so we're not too high here. We have to earn our way to another leg. But with that said, we talk about, making the most of the moment that you're given, the opportunity that you're given. And so, yeah, you're happy that those guys are able to perform and produce when they get their chance. And we know through this tournament, the regular season of MLS, like we're going to count on a lot of guys. We're confident in every player that we put on the field, and continue to sort of perform.
Ben, go ahead.
Hey BJ. Hey BJ, can you hear me now?
We have you, Ben.
Awesome, thanks. I wanted to ask about Jack. Obviously wearing the captain's armband, someone who's been around the club since they started in MLS. And I thought had a pretty kind of assured performance in the back line. What did you make of how he played, but also kind of just a leadership role for him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it comes across through the TV, but his communication as a center back, I thought was really good tonight. He controlled tempo with the ball. And you're right, Jack's been a guy that's been here for a long time. He's embodies what we're all about. He sits on our leadership council. So it was a privilege to give him that armband tonight, and I thought he did a great job with it.
And then one more guy in the back. One more guy on the back line I wanted to ask about Josh Bauer. I know he's kind of had to maybe shift into more of a fullback role. What did you make of his performance getting forward, but also showing up with a pretty important block on the goal line?
A big play, probably the play of the game, for sure. But yeah, we see Josh as a fullback. Fortunate that we think that he can play right and left fullback, so it gives us that versatility. And I thought he showed tonight, obviously from a defensive standpoint, was able to sort of handle the long diagonals well, and then showed some quality going forward. And, I thought we hit him on a few diagonals and, probably could have executed a little bit better with them. But for the most part, seeing him alive in the attack, and also Jordan on the other side, coming into the attack, I thought gave us a good variety of how we were going to access the penalty box.
Apologies on our side, guys. We have hands up, but I'm not seeing the name. So if you have your hand up, please go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah. BJ, how much of the first half with, only one shot on goal for you guys, how much of that was just you maybe trying to feel the game out and get a rhythm? And how much of that did you feel were areas that you probably could have executed better?
I mean, I think early in the first half, like I said, I think it took us a little while to get going. And then, towards the end, I thought we created a few chances. Maybe we should have put more shots on goal. I think we put them into the parking lot. So for sure, we need to get sharper. We need to finish those chances in a better way. But again, this is kind of the growing and the learning and the process of early in the season. I'd be more alarmed if we weren't creating the chances.
And with Brian Schwacke in goal, obviously he did not have a ton to do today as far as stopping shots. But what were you maybe watching for in evaluating his performance, and what did you see out of him tonight?
Yeah, I think his calmness. He's able to dictate build up. The guys are comfortable playing the ball back to him. And so I thought he was, when he got on the ball, he was able to sort of neutralize the opponent's pressing a little bit, and allowed us to kind of settle into the game and keep a good tempo. So a very professional performance by Brian.
And Claudio, I think that's you. Go ahead. You might be muted, Claudio.
I'm sorry, I apologize. BJ, we've seen you pairing Warring and Woobens in practice. How did it go in terms of seeing how they did it for you during the time you practice and what they did today?
Yeah, I think you see two players with different profiles, and they complement each other really well. Woobens is a player that, I think is really good with hold-up play, likes to have his back to goal, and then gets in the penalty box. And I think what you saw from Warren is a player that likes the ball at his feet, can run behind, but also a player that can go one-on-one. And he had a few moments where he was able to kind of cut inside. So when you have the dynamic sort of complementary profiles of those two guys, I think it's a good way to keep an opponent off balance.
And what was your thought process when you had Patrick just come in for that part in the second half, where the team seemed like to push up a little more?
Yeah, I think Patrick, one was to get freshness into the team and get some legs into the team. But also, we thought there was opportunity to sort of maybe get players more into the middle of the field. And, with Patrick's ability to run and kind of go box to box, I thought that was we thought that was a good opportunity to kind of bring him in at that moment.
All right. Thank you.